I was reborn. On our wedding night, my husband would say he couldn't get it up. "Sure enough," he said. "From now on, we won't disturb each other. Don't even think about taking your sister's place." I agreed with a smile, then plunged a knife into him. A full 23 stabs. Now his impotence has become a fact. Back to the day I married into the prince's manor in place of my legitimate older sister. At this moment, my husband is keeping himself pure for my legitimate sister, claiming to outsiders that he is impotent. Who knew my legitimate sister would take it seriously? She cried for days. And finally, I, the concubine, born younger sister, married into the prince's manor in her stead. Meanwhile, my legitimate sister secretly entered the palace and became concubine wrong. In my past life, I was the stumbling block on the path of love between her and the prince. They had an affair, and I covered for them. After being discovered, they started a rebellion. I was confined in the prince's manor and saved a group of refugees, yet the prince pointed at my nose and cursed me. They even planned to publicly execute me when they achieved success. Dying at the same time were a group of the old, weak women and children. He said these people were unruly subjects, but these unruly subjects were the common people of my great chi. They were flesh and blood, had complete families, would smile and call me Miss, would kneel and kowtow to me, saying I was a bodhisattva saving them from suffering, and would ask me when this world would finally be at peace. When I saw everyone's heads roll onto the ground, I went mad. Unfortunately, I was also beheaded by them, framed as a traitor, and hung on the city wall as a warning to others. Now, I have been reborn, and I can take revenge for them and for myself. Speaking of my father, he was merely a fifth-rank capital official, the kind who couldn't even enter the imperial court. Being able to climb up to this marriage with Prince Yu's manor was something my legitimate older sister forcibly won from among the many noble ladies in the capital, relying on her reputation as a talented woman and her peerless beauty. It was supposed to be a wonderful story, but who would have thought that the Empress wouldn't agree, mainly because she looked down on our family background. The marriage talks were halfway through, and it looked like she was about to be replaced by someone else. At the critical moment, news suddenly spread from my future brother-in-law's manor that he was impotent. The family of that noble lady immediately turned down the Empress's offer. It was supposed to be my legitimate older sister catching a lucky break, barring any accidents. An accident occurred. My legitimate older sister heard this rumor too, and wouldn't agree to marry him even if it killed her. Our parents, who had doted on her since childhood, also had something wrong with their heads. They actually made me marry into the prince's manor in my legitimate sister's place. In my previous life, I happily agreed. I thought, so what if he can't get it up? As long as he treated me a little well, it would be fine. Anything was better than suffering at home, where I was treated worse than a lowly maid, starving and freezing every day. But I was overthinking it. That prince's manor was actually hell. All of this started from the first day I entered the manor. In this life, I also readily agreed. But when no one was noticing, the corner of my mouth curled up with a hint of a crazy smile. Come on, let's die together this time. Those who died in the previous life because of their earth-shattering love are all quite lonely. This road to the underworld definitely needs their company to be lively. Once again, I dressed up and prepared to get into the bridal sedan chair carried over from the prince's manor. My legitimate sister came. She looked at me coldly. You really are quite lucky to be able to marry into the prince's manor in my place. That tremendous wealth is something I am giving you for free, so remember to cherish it. It was exactly the same as in my past life. Clearly I was the one marrying as a substitute. Yet she still expected me to be grateful. I pretended to be extremely guilty. Sister, it is indeed as you said. Enjoying such overwhelming wealth and honor would only shorten this little sister's life. Especially since Prince Yu is legitimate sister's beloved, I dare not lay a finger on him. Could you bestow the dagger you used to keep close to your body upon me? If Prince Yu is not truly I will kill myself in front of him. I absolutely will not share a bed with him and steal your happiness, legitimate sister. But if he is truly impotent, then I will have someone return the dagger, and you can choose another path then. How about that? I spoke so sincerely that my legitimate sister actually softened her expression and really gave me her dagger, taking it and hiding it in my sleeve. I went off to get married with a smile, rocking and swaying all the way to the prince's manor. I sat obediently on the bed, looking like a bride waiting for her happiness. Until Prince Yu came back from seeing off the guests and lifted my veil with a steely yard. Then, his face changed completely. Pointing at me, he asked in a trembling voice, "Why is it you? Where is your legitimate sister?" I laughed, to be honest. My legitimate sister heard you were impotent, so she made me marry in her place. Impossible Warner is so gentle and kind. How could she do such a thing? Prince Yu looked pained, yet he turned back and gave me a slap across the face, knocking me onto the bed instantly. You lowly woman, don't think that just because you've married into the family in place of Warner, I'll accept you. You are not worthy. Once I bring Warner back, you'll be our foot-washing maid. These words were even harsher than in my past life. It is just that his actions were even more ruthless. In my past life, I was beaten for a whole night, for the sake of my legitimate sister's reputation. He couldn't kick me out, so he could only torture me all night and go ask about my sister's whereabouts the next day. As a result, news got out that I was beaten on my wedding night. Me legitimate sister was afraid of retaliation, so she entered the palace that very night. This time, I won't give her that chance. Brother-in-law, sister has a message for me to pass on to you. After saying this, I coughed violently. Eager to hear news of my sister, Prince Yu walked over. What? His magnified handsome face appeared right in front of me, while I gave him a faint smile. Sister said, "Since you can't get it up, how could you be worthy of her? Go to hell." As soon as I finished speaking, I stabbed the first knife into his face, going straight through his face and into his mouth, instantly making it impossible for him to speak. I pulled out the knife and stabbed the second one into the small of his back, leaving him no way to escape. Watching him crawl on the ground in terror, I laughed. After laughing, I called out again. "Your Highness, don't be so impulsive. We still have to drink the nuptial wine." Prince Yu looked up at me, his eyes looking as if he were staring at a lunatic. I wrapped him up in the quilt and gagged his mouth with red silk. Then I stabbed him again and again, only stabbing those places that wouldn't cause fatal wounds. In my past life, that was exactly how I was tortured to death by my legitimate sister and him. I was only beheaded at the very end. It was comparable to death by 1,000 cuts. So, I know from personal experience exactly where to stab so you won't die. But it hurts like hell. I am absolutely not wrong. See this knife? The one you gave to my legitimate older sister. You know what that means, right? My sister wants you to die sooner. By doing this, I am just letting you live a little longer. While whispering these things to him, I cried out loud, "Your Highness, please be gentle, a little gentler." The people my father sent to watch outside must have heard it. They should be going back right now to tell my older sister that the prince isn't impotent. He even took me. Next up, the real show is about to begin. I laughed even more frantically. To cover up my laughter, I even covered my mouth with my hand. Before long, Prince Jade was tormented by me until he was breathing in more than out. I can't let him die so easily just yet. I should make sure this pair of scum has no way to harm anyone else. Even though Prince Jade is a love-struck fool, he still has quite a few supporters in the court. If I want to ensure he poses no threat to this country, then I definitely have to turn him into a cripple. Having my legitimate sister and my maiden family all be buried with my past self, that would be the best. The last stab, I plunged into Prince Yu's manhood. Seeing the look of despair revealed in his eyes, I chuckled lightly. Now, you really can't get it up. What do you guess Big Sister will say when she comes? After saying this, I just sat there and waited. Not long after, someone outside said, Your Highness, people from the Liu residence have come over. They say their family's concubine, born daughter, knocked out her legitimate older sister and married in her place just to enter the prince's manor and enjoy wealth and glory. Look, how should we handle this matter? These people really are shameless. Even more shameless than I thought. Steward outside are the gift. Bearers sent from the palace still here. Please invite them over to uphold justice for me. I know the Emperor is still particularly protective of this younger brother. He certainly wouldn't imagine that in just 2 years, this brother would kill his way into the palace and knife him, killing his brother to seize the throne for the sake of his beloved, my legitimate older sister. That steward didn't seem to want to listen to me, this fake princess. At this moment, I stomped hard on Prince Yu's wound, and he let out a miserable scream. The people outside pushed the door open all at once, only to see me holding a dagger against Prince Yu's neck. And I sat elegantly on the blood-stained bed, smiling like a total demon. Help, murder. Noisy. If you shout again, I'll kill him. Go call the chief steward from the palace over here. Also, the Liu family. Before the Liu family arrived, I whispered in Prince Yu's ear, Look, my legitimate older sister is coming to see if you are dead. If you don't die, how can she enter the palace to become a consort? No. Prince Yu, who had only said 2 words, spat out bloody froth, unable to get the rest of his words out. Before long, a lot of people came in from outside. The only thing I didn't expect was that the Emperor, who hadn't appeared here in my past life, actually showed up at the door draped in a black outer robe. Although he was nearly 40-something, he was strong and healthy, looking nothing like the sorrowful skin and bones man I saw in my past life. He walked in without a hint of fear, while the guards following him kept blocking in front of him, as if afraid I would hurt him. Just then, the Liu family arrived too, and their jaws dropped when they saw everything before them. They pointed at me, trembling all over, and my legitimate older sister shrieked. You are crazy. How could you do such a thing? Prince Yu? Anyone with eyes could see the blood flowing out from between Prince Yu's legs, as well as what that lump on the ground was. She immediately covered her mouth, trembling all over. I acted even more surprised than her, throwing the dagger on the ground as I looked at my legitimate older sister. Sister, what are you saying? Isn't this what you told me to do? Upon hearing this, the Emperor frowned and glanced at the Liu family members kneeling on the ground. They were all scared ashen, while my dad was instantly so terrified. His legs were shaking, a foul-smelling liquid flowed out from below. He actually pissed his pants right there. The Emperor frowned, then waved his hand. Throw the entire Liu family into the dungeon. As for her, he pointed at me, take her to the side hall. I want to question her myself. Your Majesty, please save the prince. Look at his condition. Prince Yu's steward kowtowed before the Emperor, hoping he would seek justice for his master. What are you crying for? I am not a doctor. Just go send for a doctor to treat him. After saying this, the Emperor was already leading the way to the side hall. But I was a little stunned because the Emperor wasn't furious. You have to know, he usually dotes on this son very much. This isn't normal. After entering the side hall, he waved his hand to dismiss everyone, leaving just the 2 of us. Did you do this on purpose today? Are you too a soul returned from the past? The Emperor actually asked me that. I fell to my knees with a thump. It is true. I know I have committed a capital crime, but in the name of love, they treat this world as nothing and disregard your life. Such disloyal and unjust people deserve a horrible death. I had thought I was dead for sure today, but it seems there is still a chance of survival. It was thoughtful of you. In my final days, Only you have treated me somewhat well. What can those animals do besides flattering the powerful and trampling the weak? Originally, I came today to get you out, but since you've already done this, I will send them to the execution ground within a few days. Thank you, Your Majesty. Are you not afraid of death? Having died once, why would I still fear this? By doing this, you count as my savior. I will find a way to save you. Yes, I was still sent to prison, just not in the same place where the Liu family was held. I was in a special cell, with a high bed and soft pillows, and the snacks and food were all top-notch, while opposite me, the Liu family members were miserable as hell. They had to be dragged out one by one for interrogation, and came back half dead. At first, they would cling to the cell bars and curse at me, but now they don't even have the strength to curse. I sat there eating grapes, watching them, feeling at ease. You beast! Why do you want to harm us? Don't you know you'll be beheaded too? So what if you are living in luxury as a princess consort right now? You'll be killed just the same soon enough. Now, go admit that you did all this right now, and I won't blame you anymore. I found it hilarious. Even in this situation, they still spoke with such a high and mighty tone. Have you ever considered that getting the whole family beheaded was exactly my goal? After saying that, I laughed loudly, a bit maniacally. But I wasn't lying. Back then, I didn't plan on living either. Me legitimate elder sister dropped to her knees with a thud. You've already harmed the prince. Why come to harm us too? We haven't done anything to wrong you. I pointed at her. You heard Prince Yu was impotent, so you sent me to his side, knowing full well the person he liked was you, and that I'd definitely be spurned if I went. And that Prince Yu wanted to keep himself pure for you. Every one of you treated me like the bad guy. Since that is the case, of course I have to be even worse. Anyone who harms me shouldn't dream of staying alive. Lunatic, lunatic. My dad's hands were trembling, but no matter how much he cursed, it was useless. I am just a lunatic. And I am locked up here just to watch them go crazy for me, go wild for me, and bang, bang against the big wall for me. Even if they smash the wall to pieces, smashing until blood flows like a river, I will still laugh. Until Prince Yu came, he had already become a eunuch, and his complexion was quite ashen. You bitch. I came here to kill you. I wasn't afraid of him at all, sitting gracefully on the small bed to the side, full of infinite charm. If you could kill me, you would have done it long ago. You have no choice but to endure it for the sake of the royal family's reputation. After all, I married into the royal family and am your wife. As for that bitch on the other side, she is nothing. Prince Yu was so angry, he spat blood, pointing at me. He really had no way to deal with me, and I continued to provoke him. Let me guess, apart from not being able to kill me, is it that you can't even change my life here? Prince Yu wasn't a fool either. He understood, of course. His face flushed red, and he ground his teeth until they bled. Your Highness, please save me. This concubine, born sister of mine, has always had wild ambitions. It was for revenge that she hurt you and retaliated against our whole family. But I still want to grow old with you. Really, even if the prince has become like this, you still want to marry me? Prince Yu was a little agitated and reached out to hold my legitimate sister's hand. I watched as my dad and the others opposite all revealed hopeful smiles, feeling they could use Prince Yu to turn the tables. If the emperor hadn't had his rebirth yet, I might be worried. But now, I don't care at all. And if my legitimate older sister wants to live, then let her live. Dying just like that really is letting her off easy. If only they could stay together for a long, long time, torturing each other. I remember holding back a bit when I made my move. Although I stabbed off certain things, I didn't have the fine craftsmanship of the eunuchs in the palace purification room to handle it cleanly. He'll want to, but he won't be able to have sex with my legitimate older sister. Just thinking about that makes me feel so satisfied. I laughed out loud. Just thinking about the life they'll lead from now on, even dying, would be worth it. You are thinking too much. You've committed a capital crime, and he can save only one person at most. But I am still alive. Prince Yu, your lover can only enter the household with the rights of a concubine. As long as I am alive, I am Prince Yu's principal consort. If the principal consort hasn't been divorced, he can forget about marrying anyone else. And if my legitimate older sister cannot enter the gates of Prince Yu's manor, she won't be able to survive. This is a cycle. They want to break this cycle. But how is that possible? I'll make sure that until they die, they will never be a legitimate couple. In the past life, how many people did they get killed for their so-called love? The entire imperial clan, the border soldiers, and even the civil and military officials almost lost half their numbers because of them. If those in power suffered so, then what about the common people? I have no feelings of adoration for Prince Yu, just pure hatred. And now, they will only drift further apart, until they hate each other. Vicious woman, this prince is going to divorce you. Divorce you. You think you are a commoner? To divorce your wife, you need a decree from the emperor. Otherwise, you'll just have to become a widower. And when I am executed, I'll be taking my legitimate elder sister with me. Time is running out, Your Highness. You really should cherish the moment. Looking at Prince Yu's face, hating me yet unable to touch me, my mood was truly better than ever before. My legitimate elder sister opposite me didn't open her mouth to curse me in order to keep up her well-behaved image, but that look in her eyes was as if it were dipped in poison. Prince Yu pointed at me. So angry he almost spat out a mouthful of old blood again, yet knowing that it was indeed the truth. You just wait. This prince is going right now to beg Father Emperor for a decree to divorce you. All right then, I am waiting. Only 2 days left. 2 days. That is when our whole family is to be executed. My father seized the opportunity and said, Your Highness, please plead with the Emperor. This matter has nothing to do with our family. It was all that little wretch's idea, please. But Prince Yu turned and left without even looking at him. The world of the love-brained is always so unique. I sat there and mocked my father. You'd better save your strength, old man. When your head falls in 2 days, you'll have plenty of screaming to do. You lightning-struck wretch. You've killed your own father. You will suffer heavenly retribution. When you killed my mother, why didn't you think about the retribution? She was your lawfully wedded wife, yet just to curry favor with the powerful, you forced her to lower herself to a concubine. In the end, afraid that her bearing the eldest son would displease your current in-laws, you ruthlessly strangled my twin brother to death. Dragon and Phoenix twins, something other families can only dream of, yet in the end, only I was left. You even kept dosing my mother with blood, breaking medicine, causing her to die a miserable death in less than 2 years. I looked at them, really wanting to kill these people with my own hands. But the situation didn't allow it. You know? My dad's lips trembled, thinking that this matter was supposed to be done seamlessly, wondering why I would know. It is all thanks to your favorite daughter. When I was getting married, she threatened me, saying if I didn't marry, she would deal with me just like she dealt with my mother. Didn't expect that, did you? In my past life, I was just filled with grief, thinking how a weak woman could possibly fight against the injustices of this world. I've been reborn. Screw the unfairness of the world. I am gonna pick up a shovel and dig them out one by one. Me elder sister's face was ashen, but she still stubbornly said, You are a slut, and your mother is a slut too. Soon I'll be a princess again, and then you can die. Greet, let your parents die with me. Also, even if I die, I am the official princess consort. You'll ultimately just be a concubine, and a concubine of an impotent man at that. Mess with me. I'll piss them off to death. After I made these people so angry they could spit blood, They brought up my young brother again. My mother, who usually does nothing but beat and scold me, cried and begged me to spare them for the sake of my brother being only in his teens, saying that my brother and I have always been close. Close, I remained silent, casting a cold glance at my brother who was practically drooling over my food. A few years later, he personally handed me over to his subordinates. Because back then I was a prisoner, the woman standing in the way of his sister and brother-in-law's love. So he ruined me, but he wouldn't let me die because my legitimate sister said she wanted me to watch her ascend to the position of empress. Those years were a living hell. In the end, I was only publicly executed when my legitimate sister took the throne. He deserves to die just the same. You all deserve to die. Want me to go soft? Impossible. I don't have a heart anymore. It was they who gouged it out with their own hands, one by one. It wasn't until the latter half of the night that Prince Yu came back, bringing the edict to pardon my legitimate sister, and it was written in a really interesting way. The emperor really knows how to humiliate people. It stated that my legitimate sister actually had an affair with Prince Yu long ago and was pregnant with his child. This is Prince Yu's only flesh and blood, so my legitimate sister is permitted to marry Prince Yu as a concubine. After the imperial decree was read, the whole place fell silent. Only I suddenly burst into a fit of laughter. I laughed so hard I didn't even care about my image. Congratulations. Congratulations to the two of you. You've conceived in secret. The reason my legitimate sister won't marry, isn't it just because she is still holding on to her virginity? Otherwise, how would the emperor favor her in the future? With it written like this now, even if she enters the prince's manor as a concubine, she will still be mocked by everyone. In the end, she won't even manage to become a noble concubine, let alone a side consort or princess consort. Me legitimate sister broke down crying, and Prince Yu's face turned dark as well. And my dad immediately begged, asking Prince Yu to save them. Prince Yu was cold as ice. He might have suffered quite a bit at the emperor's hands, so he was a bit impatient now. What do others have to do with this prince? I've already done my best to save her alone. Are you coming with me or not? If not, then stay here. Even if there was endless adoration back then, things aren't going smoothly now, so there is no patience left. That is men for you. To survive, my legitimate sister could only nod, and in the end, she was wrapped in a quilt and carried off directly. Me, Dad said to Prince Yu from behind, "Your Highness, we are your parents, in-law. How can you just let us be beheaded?" Prince Yu turned back and said coldly, "Do you really not know the rules? A concubine's maiden family counts as what kind of relatives? They are nothing but outsiders. In the previous life, he treated these parents-in-law very well. I was the one who became the villain, while they got all the good things. In this life, I am still the villain, but they can't be the good people anymore. On the day of the execution, I changed into the bright red clothes of a Maine wife, while they could only wear prison garb. However, before the execution, everyone's hair has to be let down. You can't exactly go to the execution ground with a head full of jewelry. Right on. The way being escorted to Keishiku, many people threw vegetable leaves and rotten eggs at us. I don't know why, but I feel like someone is targeting me on purpose, throwing way too much. I am about to die. Do you have to be so ruthless? Before the execution, our identities had to be verified. We were sent into a room one by one, and when we came out, we knelt there waiting for the executioner. I was extremely calm throughout the whole process. I had already done everything I needed to do. The emperor didn't promise to say it is enough just knowing that he is also rebirth. At least the country will be peaceful in the future. He can distinguish the loyal from the treacherous, so he will naturally be able to govern the country well. I've helped him pull out the roots of trouble. Meanwhile, my father and mother were struggling frantically, refusing to accept it, crying and making a scene. My younger brother was crying and screaming even more that he didn't want to die. He still wanted to play with crickets, still wanted to go to school. I, on the other hand, laughed so loud. Oh my, you guys are actually going up before me. That is really nice. I can watch your heads hit the ground, blood spraying everywhere. Although it is a bit dirty, it makes me so happy. I burned so much paper money for my mom earlier. She must be filthy rich over there. I wonder if she has bought off some demons and monsters to make you suffer a bit more once you get there. I don't know if it was because the execution was about to happen, or if mentioning Mother's matter scared them. Anyway, everyone was scared half to death and ended up being dragged away. Me dad even peed a trail the whole way, making those executioners kick him repeatedly. This man probably took too many concubines, so his kidneys aren't too good. Seeing them all go up there, I was actually a bit excited as I wanted to walk to the side and wait for the execution and watch them get beheaded while I was at it. But suddenly, a big hand grabbed me, saying with a laugh, "You really want to die, huh? Come here." I was pulled into a small hut, while a woman about my size, still covered in filth, was pushed up there. She had probably been fed alcohol, her whole body limp as mud. She, originally a death row inmate. "Come here. Let's get you cleaned up first." The one who took me away was the Emperor. I didn't expect he would come personally. A while later, I was all cleaned up and stood by his side with my face covered. We watched my whole family get beheaded from a small building behind the crowd. Blood dyed the ground of the vegetable market red. There wasn't even anyone to bring them a final meal before they went, nor anyone to collect their corpses after they died. I watched all this with a face as still as water, then gave a light bow to the Emperor and said, "Thank you." The Emperor helped me up, then took me to a house. He said, thanks for the careful care I gave him before his death in the previous life. He said, if I wanted to leave, he could set me free, but I still had another choice. I thought for a moment. May I ask, what is that choice? The Emperor placed the chess piece in his hand onto the board. Many of those sons of mine are extremely ambitious. The royal family is heartless, but I really need someone who can help me collect evidence. You are the person I trust the most. I touched my face. Although I was a concubine, born daughter, I had walked about outside these past years, and I was afraid others might spot some clues. It matters not. I know some extraordinary people who can help slightly change your face. Women can actually achieve great things, too. Will you help me stabilize the empire? Your subject pays respects to your majesty. Long live your majesty. Long live, long live. It was your subject, not your female subject. After that, I underwent some minor facial modifications in this manner. 3 months later, my appearance was only 70% similar to the past, and I was even more beautiful. After that, a spring breeze tower appeared in the capital, and the proprietress inside was both beautiful and good at business. In the blink of an eye, many high officials and nobles came here to have fun and dine. And I also trained a group of people specifically responsible for gathering intelligence. This news went directly through me to the Emperor's ears. There is no way for outsiders to know. This created an illusion where all the high-ranking officials felt that my place was extremely safe, and that gossip would never leak out. Even when people trying to fish for information kidnapped my staff and tortured them for a confession, they still wouldn't talk. So, a lot of people like coming to my place to discuss important business. Prince Yu came too, recently. He realized that his influence was being eaten away by his father, the Emperor and the Crown Prince. After all, he was already a good-for-nothing prince. And the people who had taken his side before had all switched masters one after another. He was both furious and anxious, still wanting to consolidate his power by marrying a noble daughter from a prestigious family. He is really dreaming big and playing wild, as if anyone would be happy to hand their daughter over to a useless wreck, like him after all. The Emperor didn't keep this a secret. Now everyone on the street knows that Prince Yu originally claimed to be impotent, because only his beloved was worthy of him. Who knew his sweetheart didn't want him anymore, so she used her own half-sister to take her place. But the half-sister went crazy and actually chopped him into impotence. Nowadays, being impotent and stripped of all power, how could any young lady be willing to marry him? To think he used to be a dashing young nobleman, with all the women in the capital fighting to marry him. Now, he has become a piece of trash nobody wants. He was drowning his sorrows in wine. I pitied him very much, so I slowly sat beside him and poured a cup of wine. Your Highness, getting drunk hurts the heart. You look very much like an old friend of mine. Oh, I am the proprietress here. You can call me Shanyang. Everyone else avoids me like the plague. Why do you bother coming to court bad luck? I smiled. Shanyang really admires you, you know. That is why I ran away from home and opened this restaurant in the capital. I just didn't expect things to have changed so much. After saying that, I sighed. Prince Yu must be starved for affection lately. Hearing me say this, he suddenly grabbed my hand. Is what Shanyang said true? But this prince has nothing left now. I am a cripple. I fear royal father only sees me as a disgrace. How can you be a cripple? I heard your current concubine was pregnant before the incident. Wasn't she? As long as the child is born and raised well, that will be a huge help, won't it? If it is a son, you still have a fighting chance. After I said that, his eyes suddenly lit up, and he didn't even drink his wine before returning to his manor. Later, my shadow guard, who infiltrated the prince's manor, came back and said that Prince Yu was looking for a man whose build and appearance were very similar to his own, to then make him his personal shadow guard. There is more than one. The corners of my mouth are almost cramping from smiling, dear sister. I wonder how you feel about your own husband finding others to rape you. She'd always prided herself on her dignified image as a highborn lady, but now she was worse off than a whore. A whore could still choose her own lovers, but she couldn't gotta get pregnant as soon as possible and gotta give birth early. If she gets pregnant right now, she'll have to deliver early. That definitely requires taking labor, inducing drugs, or blood-breaking medicine. That stuff is extremely harmful to the body. I don't know if my frail, helpless, legitimate older sister can handle it. The matter naturally reached the Emperor's ears without any suspense, but the part where I pushed things along was covered up. He put down the chess piece in his hand. It is time to close the net, to still want to vie for my position. Even now, his ambition truly never dies. Originally, I wanted to leave him a way out, but now it seems. Having captured a piece, the Emperor sighed. Do you think emperors are heartless? I shook my head. In your last life you had a heart, yet you were tortured to death by Prince Yu. In the name of love, he snatched your concubines, harmed your heirs, and made life unbearable for the people. For a woman to have such thoughts, in this life you are no longer someone who can be confined to the backyard. The Emperor tapped his hand on the table a few times, then said, After this is done, take me as your adoptive father. But there was no need for me to object, although I didn't know what the Emperor was thinking. I knew that at a time like this, he prioritized the common people above all else. Sure enough, a few months later, my legitimate older sister went into labor. She struggled for several days and nights, screaming herself hoarse. Then she gave birth to a boy, a tiny, scrawny, premature baby. Prince Yu's manor threw a huge banquet to celebrate, but I heard people say that my legitimate older sister had a massive hemorrhage. She was lying there breathing in more than she was breathing out, already on the verge of death. I strolled leisurely into my legitimate sister's courtyard. Unexpectedly, no one was guarding the place, and the stench of blood in her room was incredibly thick. I walked up to her bed, and a little maid rushed over asking, "Who are you?" Before she could finish speaking, she was knocked unconscious by the shadow guard following me. Your current appearance is truly delightful. So what if you are the proud daughter of heaven? Aren't you just a tool for someone to use your womb to bear a child? Who are you? My legitimate sister's gaze was bewildered, her face pale without a hint of blood. Ever since she was defiled by another man, that Prince Yu likely has not a shred of love left for her. I removed the mask from my face. Can you still recognize me, my good sister? It is you, you bitch. My appearance is indeed not much like before, but coupled with my voice, The sister who has lived with me for over a dozen years would definitely still recognize me. Yeah, I am bitch. Then what are you? To get pregnant with this child. How many men who looked like the prince did you service? 1, 2, 3. No, stop talking. I am going to kill you. Kill them. Why didn't you die? She seemed to be having a final burst of energy, already propping up her body to come strangle me. I just took a step back, and she rolled off the bed, fluids all beneath her. How does it feel to be sold out by the man you sucked up to for wealth and status? Even if you die now, he won't feel a shred of heartache, because you've already given birth to the child he wanted, the child that can help him climb higher. Let me tell you one last thing. The person who made him force you to get pregnant was me. My legitimate older sister's eyes glared wide and bloodshot, looking like she wanted to eat me alive. But how could that be possible? She had no strength left. I didn't even move. When her hands choked me, they eventually slowly slumped down. Her whole body twitched on the ground a few times, then went completely still. I spat on her, turned around, and left with the shadow guard. In the front yard, there was playing and singing. In the backyard, Prince Yu's favorite was already dead. The next one, naturally, will be him. How big of a commotion can the death of a concubine cause? It is just a thin coffin carried out of the city to be buried in some random spot. Prince Yu was actually quite thoughtful. He buried my legitimate sister right next to my family's graves. Not far from there is the mass grave. A few months later, I became the emperor's newly acknowledged adopted daughter. He doted on me greatly and even specially titled me as princess. The whole court was shaken. And the day I was titled princess was also the time when Prince Jade came holding his own child to beg for a title. Relying on this boy, some of the old hands who had already left his side also gathered back. Even a certain consort in the palace put in a few good words in the emperor's ear. Thus, that is how the matter of him coming to ask for a title came about. As long as the emperor gave this child a formal name and entered him into the imperial genealogy, then this child would have a chance at inheriting the throne. Although Prince Jade was ruined, he had a child, so that gave him a fighting chance. Everyone was very clear on this, until he carried the child into court and saw me. He paused for a moment, but still knelt on the ground with a face full of joy to request the emperor bestow a name. At this, I suddenly bowed and said, "Father Emperor, your daughter has something to say." Prince Jade sensed something was wrong and immediately said, "You are a mere woman. How can you speak in the court?" I smiled faintly and took out the secret inspector's token. The emperor personally established the Secret Inspection Bureau many years ago, specifically to investigate corrupt officials. In an instant, no one in the court dared to make another sound. Even Prince Jade stared wide, eyed in shock, and didn't open his mouth again. This official has found out that this child is not Prince Jade's child. He was conceived from an illicit affair with a shadow guard in the manor, after that concubine entered the residence. One sentence stirred up 1,000 waves. How is this possible, Father Emperor? Look, this child looks somewhat similar to your son. Prince Yu naturally had his reasons. After all, the men he found all looked somewhat like him. I said unhurriedly, "Prince, stop trying to hide it. If you speak the truth now, perhaps you won't have to completely lose the royal family's face." Prince Yu pointed at me and said, "I think you are just spouting nonsense. A woman calling herself a minister. Where do you get the nerve? Where do you get the courage?" The emperor waved his hand and said, "I personally conferred Wangxia's title. Do you have any objections?" Prince Yu fell silent. Then I smiled faintly, clapped my hands, and said, "Bring them in." Next, 3 men with similar appearances walked in one after another, and they all bowed down on the ground. "Tell us, what do you do? And what dealings do you have with Prince Yu?" These 3 men were arranged in Prince Yu's manor long before I gave Prince Yu that suggestion. Prince Yu was originally going to send people to kill them after the deed was done, but they were saved by the people I arranged. I am a shadow guard from Prince Jade's manor. One day, the prince called me and two other brothers over. Then right in front of him, forced us to do that to a woman. That woman was the prince's new concubine. Afterward, that concubine got pregnant, and we were hunted down by him. Fortunately, the princess saved us. So, there is a 1 in 5 chance that the child in the prince's hands is one of ours. 5 then, the other 2, the emperor asked. They were already killed by the men the prince sent. I also didn't expect that. Besides the 3 people I sent out, there were 2 others. My legitimate elder sister, her fate is so bitter. Prince Yu naturally wouldn't admit to it. His face was ashen, and he looked like he was on the verge of a violent rage. Just then, I had the palace midwives brought in. They examined the child on the spot and said it was a premature baby by at least 3 months or more. It was practically a miracle it had survived. The emperor was furious. Prince Yu actually dared to confuse the royal bloodline, a crime punishable by death. Prince Yu begged for mercy repeatedly, but the emperor said with a look of disappointment, "Princess Xia shall handle this matter on my behalf. I am tired." I knew he was giving me the chance to take revenge with my own hands. Royals cannot be beheaded. So I had someone bring a cup of poisoned wine to the room where Prince Yu was being held. Seeing me come over, he backed away repeatedly. "Impossible, impossible. Father wouldn't kill me. Don't come over." I ordered the shadow guards to hold him down, then brought the wine to his side and smiled. "Prince, please be on your way. Oh, right. If anyone over there asks who killed you, please answer like this. It was your wife who personally fed you a cup of poisoned wine. You, it is you. You are that bitch. Let me go, okay? I'll marry you again as my consort. From now on, you'll be my only consort. But you can't get it up. So, what are we supposed to do? You can pick any servant in my manor. As long as you like him, I can have him sleep with you. If that is not enough, whichever young lord you fancy, I can help bring him to you too." I laughed so hard my whole body shook. "Once you are dead, I can still keep plenty of gigolos. Doesn't that kind of life sound sweet?" I pinched his cheeks myself and forced the poisoned wine down his throat. I prepared the poisoned wine myself. It was the 7-step gut severer. Within 7 steps, it would torture him so viciously he'd wish he were dead. The spineless Prince Jade ultimately couldn't last the 7 steps. Within just a few breaths, he rammed his head into a pillar and died. I had his body thrown out, then entered the palace to report my success. In the days that followed, I was both Princess Xia and the head of the Shadow Inspection Bureau. Everyone feared me to some degree. Eventually, even when I stood in the royal court, no one dared to utter a single word of objection. After the emperor passed, I assisted the crown prince in taking the throne. Once his rule was secure, I resigned from my court positions to travel and enjoy the landscape. What could be more uplifting than the mountains and waters of a peaceful, prosperous era?